What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. You check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak about a episode of The Odd Couple that I watched, and the conversation was about Giannis and some of the potential teams that he might end up with. You got Miami. He could potentially end up in Miami. Some people have connected him with like Golden State and even New York, right? If New York was to lose this series, say if not Golden State, if the Spurs was come back and win this series, potentially Giannis could go to New York, right? Or the conversation would be coming up, because what would happen is people would think that, all right, Cat couldn't get it done. Now, let's see if we can make this thing happen with somebody like Giannis, right? With Giannis. So that's an interesting conversation. And in order to, and this was going on a while ago, like this came up a while ago, but now that the Knicks are in the, they're in the championship, and Cat is playing out of his mind, I think now it would be harder, in my opinion, to run Cat out of town, right? I think that they would probably have to make some other moves to keep Cat and make some other moves, to try to get Giannis. But let's listen to what the Odd Couple, Calvin Washington, had to say about this potential, move.
You and I, it's been so long, to be honest with you. You and I, Rob and I have a wing bet on this one. I believe Giannis will be traded at some point before the season starts.
Yes.
He doesn't. We'll see. There's been talks right now. The latest talk is with Miami. They're saying there's some reports he personally has interest in Miami. There's obviously talk with Miami. The conversation becomes, what do you have to give up? Tyler Hero, a couple other players, and some picks to get him, so on and so forth. But that's an interesting one, because there's also folks wondering, well, what was the more likely one prior, say 8 months ago? Karl Anthony Towns.
Yes.
So the conversation started to become, but it seems like a good pick, a good match, I should say. Go ahead.
But they don't have any the first round picks because Mikal Bridges.
So I like Mikal, but that's still crazy.
That never was a thing that the Knicks could pull off, because they don't have the assets outside of players.
But we know somehow things work out, three-way trades. You can still make things happen. So the question starts to become, and there's been a little bit of reporting of, what if the idea that the Knicks have been great this season. The season was good, a little up and down. Remember, they lost 10 straight. They were going through it. And then they started to get back on track. They figured out a better offensive team. And then we saw obviously what they've done in the postseason. Now they're in the finals, they're up 2-1. But the question becomes, is this team foolproof in the sense of, let's say they lose. Let's say they lose tonight. Now it's 2-2. You go home, the Spurs go home, they win one. Maybe you win game 6, but then you lose at 7 in San Antonio. Point is, let's say they lose. Where are you with the idea of, we tried, we were good, we got close, it's time to bring in a better player than Giannis? Nobody would dispute.
Okay.
He's a better player. Giannis, and make that trade. To say, hey, we tried it with Cat, and we a couple years, and we got close, but you making that trade?
If they lose the finals, they are making that, or they're trying to make that trade. They lose these finals, they're trying to make that trade.
Why?
Because teams are only going to get better. The Celtics will be better. The Pacers will be better. There'll be less.
How dare you say the Pacers over the Pistons? I'm sorry, my bad.
I don't know what. Man. The Pistons, in theory, will be better. The Wizards will be better. Orlando. So you got to start thinking, okay, if we stand pat, do we have enough to do what we just did? The path will be a little bit different for them. So you want to get an injection. You want to be able to, you know who I think what I would do? If I were Milwaukee?
What team you'd be looking at making a move? Let me think. Give me a conference.
Western Conference.
Thunder.
1,000%. Give me Chet Holmgren,
bunch of picks,
four first-round draft picks, and one of them other dudes sitting on the end.
Give me one of them solid bench players. Yeah.
So I do it in a heartbeat.
I said that when I called him set.
Yeah.
But what I feel about, like, I don't know if Giannis fit in with those guys over there in OKC, those young guys, just because of their style of play, right? Giannis they do run the, like in the fast break situation, Giannis run the court. I think that's good. But in a half court set, that's where I don't know about Giannis. He don't really play with his back to the basket a whole lot, right? I don't know how I feel about Giannis with OKC, but in New York, I think he would fit. Now, the thing is, remember early in the season when Mike Brown and Karl Anthony Towns was having, they was kind of at odds about some things. Mike Brown was not really satisfied with the effort that Karl Anthony Towns was playing with at that time, right? And so they seem to have ironed that all out. So, but still, I think, and who knows, New York, even if they win this championship, they might still try to get Giannis, because they might feel like with Giannis they can run it back, and so only assets they have are the players. Their draft picks. They short on draft picks. As far as being able to offer anybody draft picks. So I don't know, but let me get back to some more of what they're saying.
No Chet, because he ain't got no H, he ain't got no heart.
That'll change.
Oh, he'll get better. I mean,
no, I'm saying that'll change OKC.
You got to win.
When you have to compete with what we know this Spurs team to be, and they're going to get better because Harrison Barnes won't be there next year. They're going to do some things to bolster that team, no matter if they win or lose. So if I'm OKC, I'm like, okay, what do we need to do? Bringing in a Giannis and getting rid of a couple players and those picks that you couldn't possibly use. They got two first-round draft picks this year.
Too many picks.
Right? They don't need that much help. But a Giannis on that team, brother, this a whole different. That's what I would be doing.
I said the same thing. I said it on the air. I said the minute I saw Chet, because I'll tell you why. I said this because you know what Chet did when he was at Gonzaga when it was crunch time in tournaments? Didn't show up. You know what he did?
Drew Timmy showed up.
Exactly. You know what he did in a couple of the playoff series? It was early in his career against Denver. Didn't show up. And then you know what he did last year in the finals? They won. He didn't show up. Shooting 20-some% from three. I think it was
the thing about Chet Holmgren, though, and I think is people going to see the same thing with Wemby, right? Those guys are so tall, and they have a like they so light in the pants that it's going to be hard for those guys to get to establish position in the paint. And this positionless basketball that's being played in the NBA, they can kind of flourish and do their thing now. But I think teams are going to get more physical with them, right? And so Chet Holmgren and Wemby are going to have to learn how to play closer to the basket if they want to have some success, continue to have success in the NBA. You see what the Knicks right now are doing with the big guy Wemby, right? They tiring him out. Remember, all throughout the season, Wemby played, he was playing like 30 minutes a game. Now, they got him playing like 40 minutes a game. So he playing 10 more minutes at least than he was. So he tired. Then on top of that, he's not really playing close to the basket. He's trying to take people off the dribble, and then they got him running from side to side on defense because New York is passing the ball because they don't want to come down and shoot pass one time and shoot. They're going to work that ball around just so Wemby can keep adjusting and then come down a stretch. Wemby is going to be tired. So that's going to be the game plan moving forward. And Wemby going to have to learn how to play, like I said, teams are not going to allow the Spurs to beat them with Wemby only playing 30 minutes a game. They just not going to do it. They want Wemby in there so they can tire him out down the stretch. That's what New York is doing. No matter how far New York fall behind, they just came back 27 down and won on a tip in by what's the guy name? Anobli, right? So by the time Wemby get to the end of that game, man, he was just exhausted, and so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, and so yeah. But I don't. It'll be cool in my opinion if the Knicks get if they get Giannis. That'll put them in contention for at least the next few years, right? With Giannis. I don't know if they're gonna get rid of Cat though. That'd be messed up if they win a championship and run Cat out of town, man. That's gonna be crazy, but we'll see. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.